HistoSonics is a growth phase company building its business using the science of Histotripsy. Our very own Kristen Scholler recently sat down with the company's chairman and CEO, Mike Blue, who shared how Histotripsy works and what makes it different. Check it out.
So there's two parts to our story. The first is a robotic surgical or interventional platform or system. I think the best analog is, if you're familiar with Intuitive Surgical, which I'm guessing you are, and their Da Vinci robot. So it's similar to that in terms of a system and platform that can be used across an incredible number of applications. The difference is our form factor is a bit smaller. It's truly mobile, can be moved from room to room, department to department. It's specialty or user agnostic, so we want to make sure that it can adapt and fit into any procedural suite. And then the real part of our story is Histotripsy, which is the science of using focused therapeutic ultrasound in a very novel way to mechanically destroy what we ultimately do is liquefy targeted tissue, and then the body knows how to naturally process that fluid and remove it very naturally from the body. So it's a robotic platform that delivers histotripsy to liquefy targeted tissue and ultimately remove that from the body.
Impressive. Now, the Edison system, I know, is at the core of what you do. Where is the company and the commercialization of that?
So we launched the Edison platform in December of 2023. We're in the process of scheduling our 100th delivery here in the United States, which seems like a lot, but there's over 5,000 US hospitals, an equal number of ambulatory surgical centers, and we believe ultimately all of those are a place where Edison should be found. So we're just at the very beginning. And then we've got another dozen or so international systems. So we've begun the commercial launch of Edison as well.
Mm-hmm. What does the process to broader adoption look like for that?
It's one just through additional commercialization efforts, both in the US and international. Obviously, you've got to go through the regulatory clearances internationally. So we're expecting to have CE mark by early next year, which gives us the access to the European market, which is obviously very important and strategic. And then we've got a team of employees who are out working on globalization into other parts of the world.
Wow. Well, I know reimbursement is a critical milestone for medtech platforms. How is HistoSonics approaching reimbursement?
That is an incredibly important piece to our business model. So we tried to plan way in advance, even prior to having an FDA clearance for the system. We knew how important reimbursement was going to be. So we've worked very well with the American Medical Association, AMA, to get codes specific for histotripsy of each organ or application. So we've got a dedicated code for histotripsy of malignant liver tumors. We've got a code for kidney tumors, and we plan to submit that data to the agency early next year. We are in the process of getting a code for pancreatic tumors. Once we have those codes, we work with CMS to assign a payment. So we currently have a national Medicare payment of $17,500, and the proposed rule has that increasing in 2026, which is incredibly exciting. And we're going through the same process in kidney, and we will go through the same process in pancreas. So we're very fortunate from a CMS standpoint that we've got a code with reimbursement. And then obviously an important part of reimbursement is also working with commercial payers. So Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and West Virginia have already published positive coverage decisions. So we plan to leverage that and work with additional payers across the country.
So those signals do seem to be positive, both from the payers and the providers so far.
And I think the reason for that is the true impact we're having on patients' lives. And I think the payers understand that and appreciate that and are rewarding this novel therapy.
Well, HistoSonics recently did announce a majority stake acquisition valuing the company at nearly $2.3 billion, one of the biggest medtech deals this year, including being led by high-profile investors like Jeff Bezos. Walk us through the unique structure of this deal.
As you know, and the audience knows, traditionally for an earlier stage company, there's two ways to provide liquidity. It's either through an IPO or through M&A. And those were certainly options for us. We were preparing to go down the IPO path this year when a third very interesting option presented itself, which was to be acquired by a new ownership group led by groups like Wellington and Bezos Expeditions, as you just mentioned, Jeff Bezos, in addition to other incredibly large investment firms who ultimately, I think, provided the optimal solution for our shareholders, for employees, for the company, both in the short term and long term. So this solution provided short-term liquidity at $2.25 billion valuation. It allowed both employees and shareholders, early investors, to liquidate or hold or do a little bit of both. So participate in the short-term upside, but also in the long-term potential, which we think is significant. Again, using the analog of Intuitive Surgical, we really believe that that's the potential of this company. And allow it to continue to be run as a privately held company, which is really important to us in that it provides ability for us to do things we need to do to accelerate growth, not only across the world and globalizing the Edison platform, but in terms of what we talked about in terms of new indications and applications.
Interesting. So you do see a clear path to growth with this deal, is that right?
That is absolutely the case. There will be an infusion of financing that we'll announce very shortly that will help us add new employees and teams to accelerate everything that we just talked about, from globalization of the Edison platform to launching new indications and applications throughout the body.
Well, I want to go back to Histotripsy and your belief in terms of how the science behind that can really change the standard of care. What can you tell me?
We are going through currently, and will continue to go through, a massive paradigm shift where patients ultimately are ineligible or not candidates for other procedures because of their invasiveness or their toxicity or side effects of those therapies, even drug therapy. And what makes Histotripsy so unique is that because it's non-invasive, there are fewer risks and side effects associated with the procedure, and there's no toxicity. And so our vision is that Histotripsy can be used in the brain. We're doing a lot of human cadaver work now using Histotripsy completely non-invasively in the brain that can be used to treat clots, brain tumors, both benign, malignant, neurological disorders, head and neck, anywhere, and certainly through the body, the torso, the abdomen, anywhere that you want diseased tissue to be removed non-invasively, without toxicity, and with very few side effects. We believe that Histotripsy is the solution for that.
Thank you, HistoSonics Chairman and CEO Mike Blue, and of course, Kristen Scholler for that interview.